The billionaire, Mr. Desmond, steps out in his sharp suit, confident and proud. But his life takes an unexpected turn the moment he sees Amara, a beautiful, humble woman working as a secretary in the same company. Their eyes meet, and it feels like time freezes. Desmond starts finding excuses to visit her office every day. He brings her flowers, takes her to dinner, and soon, laughter fills their conversations. Days turn into weeks, and their bond grows stronger. They dance under city lights, share secrets, and promise each other forever. Finally, Desmond kneels down in front of a crowd, opens a ring box, and asks Amara, "Will you marry me?" She bursts into tears of joy. "Yes, yes, I will." Their wedding is grand, full of love and happiness. Everyone sees them as the perfect couple, a union blessed by heaven. They walk hand in hand, smiling, unaware that a dark secret waits to destroy everything. Amara walks out of the bedroom, glowing with joy. She's pregnant, the billionaire's first child. Months later, the house is filled with excitement. Desmond can't stop smiling, already imagining his son taking over his empire one day. But when the nurse finally places the baby in his hands, his smile fades. The baby's eyes don't open. The doctor lowers his voice, "Sir, your son is blind." The joy in the room turns to silence. Desmond's hands tremble. He stares at the baby, disappointment clouding his face. Later that night, he paces the room. "Desmond," angrily, "how can a billionaire like me have a blind son? People will laugh at me." He forces a smile in public, but deep down, shame eats him alive. Still, he convinces himself, the next one will be normal, this was just nature's mistake. Years pass, and Amara is pregnant again. Desmond is hopeful, this time he prepares a bigger baby shower, even buys toys before the child arrives. But when the baby girl is born, everyone in the room goes silent. Her legs are twisted. "Doctor," softly, "Sir, your daughter can't walk." Amara breaks down in tears, holding the child close. Desmond turns away, shouting in frustration, "Desmond, I married a woman of bad luck. Look at what she's given me." He begins to hate his once loving wife, not knowing he is the reason for the curse that follows them. Gossip spreads fast. People whisper behind his back that rich man's children are all disabled. Desmond hides in shame, burning with anger. Still, he tries again. Amara becomes pregnant for the third time. This time, Desmond prays, fasts, gives money to pastors, hoping for a miracle. When the baby is born, he rushes to the hospital, only to hear the doctor say, "Sir, your son can neither hear nor speak." Desmond's world collapses. He and Amara start blaming each other. They visit hospitals, spend millions, yet no doctor can explain the mystery. They visit churches, but every pastor prays in vain, the curse remains. Then one night, Desmond tries again. But this time, Amara never conceives. Her womb is closed. The line of children ends, and their house turns cold, filled with silence, regret, and secrets. Plates crash to the floor. The billionaire Desmond and his wife Amara stand on opposite sides of the table, faces burning with anger. Desmond, shouting, "You've brought nothing but shame to my name. Look at me, a billionaire with disabled children." Amara, crying, "And you think it's my fault? Do you think I wanted this pain?" Their voices echo through the mansion. The children cry from their rooms, but Desmond doesn't care. He slams the door and storms out. Soon, gossip spreads like wildfire across the city. Everywhere Desmond goes, people whisper. At the marketplace, traders laugh behind his back. "That rich man whose children can't see or walk, what a shame." At church, some pretend to pray for him, others hide their faces, whispering, "Maybe he offended God. Maybe it's a curse." Even the newspaper headlines twist his story, "Wealth can't buy blessings, billionaire's family under mysterious curse." Desmond starts to hate everything around him, the laughter, the whispers, even his own home. He avoids his children, refuses to touch them, and locks himself in his office most nights. Amara tries to reach him, but his heart has turned to stone. "Amara," softly, "they are still your children, Desmond. They need love." Desmond, furious, "Love? For what? So the world can laugh at me more. He pushes her hand away. That night, Amara weeps beside her sleeping children, whispering prayers only heaven can hear. Days later, she can't take it anymore. One morning, she quietly packs her clothes, folds her children's pictures, and walks out of the mansion with tears rolling down her cheeks. She boards a taxi and heads to Desmond's sister's house, hoping to find peace, or at least understanding. Sister, Amara, what happened? Amara, sobbing, your brother, he's no longer the man I married. The sister hugs her, unaware that she herself holds the key to the dark secret that destroyed Desmond's life. Desmond sat alone in his study that night, the rain tapping softly against the window. The glow from the chandelier fell weakly on his face, a face that once carried pride, now shadowed by sleeplessness and guilt. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk. Thoughts tormented his mind. Why are all my children born this way? Why has life turned against me, when I gave it everything? He tried to remember if he had offended anyone, or perhaps broken a covenant he didn't understand. But deep inside, a buried memory began to stir, one he had long buried under his success and wealth. Desmond groaned softly, clutching his head. Could it be, my past, he whispered. In another part of the city, Amara sat in a quiet room, her head bowed in shame and confusion. Her eyes were red from crying, her voice trembled whenever she spoke. Across from her sat Ngozi, Desmond's only sister. The air between them was heavy with silence, broken only by the ticking of a small wall clock. Sister Ngozi, Amara said weakly, I came because I have no peace. My husband blames me for everything. I have tried to pray, to fast, to be patient, but nothing changes. Why is my life like this? Ngozi's hands trembled. She couldn't meet Amara's eyes. She stood up, poured a glass of water, but didn't drink. Her lips quivered as she spoke. Amara, she began, her voice barely a whisper. There is something I should have told you long ago. Something about my brother, your husband. Amara looked up sharply, confused. What are you talking about? Ngozi turned away, tears gathering in her eyes. Years ago, before he became rich, Desmond, he did something unspeakable to me. Amara's heart raced. What do you mean? Ngozi broke down completely. He raped me, he forced himself on me, Amara. His own sister. I tried to forget it, but I couldn't. When I got pregnant, I hid it from everyone. I gave birth to a baby boy, his child. But Desmond, her voice cracked, Desmond killed that innocent baby. He used his own blood for ritual to gain wealth. Amara's mouth fell open. The room seemed to spin. She staggered backward, pressing her palm against her chest. No, no, that can't be true, this is great abomination. How can brother rape her sister? When she gave birth he also killed a bastard child. No. Oh. It's true, Ngozi sobbed. He told me himself, and begged me never to speak. I was heartbroken. I laid a curse that day, with all the pain in my heart. I said, Desmond, every child you bring to this world will suffer the pain you gave me. Amara collapsed to the floor, weeping uncontrollably. So this is it, all this while, I thought it was me. I thought I was the problem. Ngozi knelt beside her, crying too. I was afraid, Amara. I didn't want to destroy his marriage. But the truth cannot stay hidden forever. At that very moment, Desmond arrived. He had driven aimlessly through the night, restless and weak, feeling something strange drawing him toward his sister's home. As he stepped into the compound, he heard voices, the sound of Amara's sobs, and his sister's trembling words. He froze at the doorway, listening. His heart pounded as each word fell like a hammer. He forced himself on me, he killed his own child, he used the baby for ritual. Desmond's legs went weak. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. His mind echoed with the warning of the native priest from years ago. If your wife ever discovers the blood behind your wealth, madness will be your destiny. He staggered into the room, pale and shaking. Ngozi, you told her. His sister turned in shock. Amara looked up, her face wet with tears. Desmond clutched his head, screaming as memories flooded back, the night of the ritual, the baby's cry, the blood, the promise of wealth, the warning. I didn't mean to, he cried out. I just wanted to be rich. I didn't want to be poor anymore. He stumbled, fell to his knees, and began laughing and crying at the same time. His eyes turned wild, unfocused, madness creeping in. Amara screamed in fear. Ngozi rushed to hold him, but he pushed her away violently, trembling and shouting. Leave me. The blood is calling me. The baby is calling me. He fell to the ground, shaking, as thunder roared outside, just like the night he sealed his fate. Amara could only stand there, crying bitterly, as she realized the painful truth. The curse that destroyed their home began the very day Desmond killed his own blood. The mansion that once echoed with laughter now stood in silence. Curtains remained closed, dust gathered on the marble floors, and the scent of wealth was replaced with the smell of fear and despair. Desmond was no longer the proud, confident man everyone admired. His mind was gone. Madness had swallowed him whole. He would wake in the middle of the night, screaming at shadows. Sometimes, he would wander the halls barefoot, laughing and crying at the same time, calling the names of children who weren't there. Don't touch me, he shouted one night, pointing at nothing. I said I'm sorry. I didn't mean to kill the child. Please, stop crying. His servants began to flee, one after another. They whispered that their master had gone insane, that the gods were punishing him for a secret sin. His business empire started collapsing. Investors pulled out. His bank accounts were frozen due to mismanagement. The once famous billionaire became the talk of the town again, but this time, not for his riches, but for his madness. At the markets, people shook their heads. Have you heard? The mighty Desmond has lost his mind. His wife cursed him, they say. No, it's God's judgment, the blood he shed is crying. Amara returned home with a heavy heart. She couldn't recognize the man she once loved. His eyes were empty, his beard unkempt, his clothes torn. He sat on the floor, talking to himself, surrounded by old photographs of their children. Look, he said softly, holding up a picture, smiling weakly. They're all here, my beautiful children, but they don't talk to me anymore. Amara's heart shattered. Tears filled her eyes as she knelt beside him. Desmond, please, stop this. You need help. Let's go to the hospital. He turned to her slowly, his gaze hollow and distant. Help, he whispered. Can they help a man cursed by his own blood? He began to laugh again, wild and broken, his laughter echoing through the empty mansion. That night, Amara stood by the window, looking out at the rain. Her face was pale, her body weak. She remembered the love they once shared, the man who once held her hand and promised her forever. Now, all she had left was a broken husband, 3 disabled children, and a life filled with shame and pain. Her sister-in-law's words echoed in her mind, his curse can only end with truth and forgiveness. But how could she forgive a man who killed his own child? Amara sank to her knees, crying silently. Her heart battled between love and justice, mercy and anger. She knew she had to make the hardest decision of her life, whether to stay and care for a madman who destroyed everything, or walk away and save what little peace remained of her soul. She whispered through her tears, God, what do I do now? Thunder rumbled outside as if the heavens heard her cry. The once grand mansion now looked like a shadow of itself, windows cracked, fountains dry, walls fading. The neighbors who used to bow and greet Desmond from afar now crossed the street whenever they saw him wandering. He was no longer Mr. Desmond the billionaire. He was just Desmond the madman. Every morning, he walked around the compound barefoot, muttering to himself, sometimes shouting at invisible voices. The security men had long resigned. The cars, the gold, the empire, all gone. The same man who once signed million-dollar deals now begged food from gatekeepers. Inside the house, Amara watched him from afar, her eyes tired but still full of compassion. She couldn't abandon him even after everything. She had loved him once, deeply. But the man she loved was gone, swallowed by his own sin. Desmond's sister, Ngozi, visited often. Her heart was heavy with guilt, but she couldn't take back her curse. One evening, she sat with Amara in silence. Ngozi, quietly, I never wanted it to end like this. I just wanted him to feel what I felt. Amara nodded, tears in her eyes. Amara, and now, we all feel it. That night, a terrible storm came. Thunder roared across the city. Lightning flashed through the skies like angry swords. Desmond wandered out into the rain, laughing and screaming at the heavens. "Take it back," he cried. "I'm sorry. I killed my blood for wealth, and now my bloodline is cursed. Please, forgive me." He fell to his knees in the mud, clutching his chest as thunder cracked above him. His voice weakened. "God, please, mercy." From the window, Amara and Ngozi ran toward him, shouting his name, but it was too late. Desmond collapsed, his body trembling. His last breath left his lips like a whisper carried by the wind. A faint smile rested on his face, maybe peace, maybe madness. And then, he was still. Days later, the city was filled with whispers again. The billionaire who mocked the poor had died like a beggar. At the burial, no one spoke much. The crowd was small, just Amara, Ngozi, and a few old workers who still pitied him. As they lowered his coffin into the ground, Amara whispered, "May God have mercy on your soul, Desmond." She turned to her children, each of them different but innocent. She held them close and said softly, "Your father's sin is not your destiny. You will rise above this." The rain stopped, and a soft ray of sunlight broke through the clouds, as if heaven itself accepted her forgiveness. Amara looked up, her tears glistening, and walked away with her children, leaving behind the mansion, the curse, and a name that once meant wealth, but ended in sorrow.